we're back where we started. C minor. C minor or 6/5. That was one of them Antoine Walker. That's that flat. I'm not gonna try to show off, because here's the thing. When you show off in one key and you go up to the next key and you super basic, you went from playing like you in college to playing like you're in kindergarten when you moved up to the next key. And if you can do a lick or two in one key, make sure you can do it in all 12 keys. But if you consider yourself a professional gospel musician, you can do every lick in one key that you can do in all 12 keys. So this is the video that you want to send your friends or anyone that asks you that question: can you play in all 12 keys? Well, if I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I can move it to the key of F, or I can move it to B flat. I mean, technically, I'm playing that song in all 12 keys. So asking someone, can you play in all 12 keys, is really subjective. Oh yeah, and I am going to address the transpose button. There are times where I'm going to advise you to use the transpose button, and I'll talk about that at the end of this video lesson. So I'm gonna start off in the key of C minor, and the cool thing about this song is it feels like we're in a major key, but technically we're playing in a minor key. So I'm gonna play through this, and I'll go through a couple of the keys, and then I'm gonna take my time to break down all the nuances so that you sound consistent with these advanced nuances in all 12 keys. Is to be consistent. Even licks like this. We're going to cover that in all 12 keys. Watch this. All 12 keys. Nice little modal change. Next key up. Now we're in C sharp minor. We want to be very consistent with those nuances. Watch this, here we go. So let's go and jump in. We'll start off with C minor. Now again, this is how the pros transpose, so this is definitely for my more advanced musicians. And C minor is relative minor to the key of E flat major. Here's E flat major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is always minor for the 1 major. So 6 minor is going to be C minor. Every mountain, that's my C minor, which is 6. C minor over B flat, which is my 6/5. You brought me over. In the key of E flat, here's my 1, and then here's my 7th, and that's a dominant 7. So, and I'm walking into that. You want to do that in every key. Let's say we're in the key of F. You're gonna do that same movement. That takes you to the 4th chord. Same thing in the key of E. How are you gonna get there? Boom, do, do. And so that's what these advanced musicians are doing, or what the pros are doing to transpose. They're not pushing a button. They're literally using these nuances, and they're practicing these nuances in all 12 keys. So this is my 2, 1, 2, and I'm gonna do a 2, 2. And the reason why I call that is because I'm gonna add the 2. So this is an F major chord, add 2. And this is over my E flat, which is a 1 with the 7. Do, do, do. To the 1/4. And you can add a 6 there. So this is an E flat over the 4 for every. And this is a 2 minor, which is F minor, first inversion over the 7. And I call it 77 because this is a dominant 7. And then we're going to go to this 3. we know 3 is G, and I'm gonna drop this down. And that's why I call it 3 CHR. That CHR for me is chromatic. You guys need to check out that 251 chromatic video. I'll put a link below. And what I'll do is, instead of doing all of that, I'll skip those first 2 and then. So let's go to this again, 6. For every mountain, 6 over 5. There it is. And then we're gonna go to that 3. And then we're gonna go to a 6 major. And then 5 minor over the 3 with the 7. Here's 3 with the 7. 5 minor is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minor. Don't put that there. That's the 5th of that. We're just gonna keep that open with the 7th. And then watch this. Go to the 6 and drop it. And instead of doing those first 2, we'll do that second 2. That's a 2 minor over 1. D, and then D over, which is over my flat 3, and then to the 3, and then we're gonna take that 3, which is G major, over the B, which is a flat 6, and then we're gonna go to that C minor, and then we're gonna go up a half step. So now, as you can see, we're in the key of C sharp, and that's C sharp minor or E major. So, and that's where you see that 3 with the up asterisk going up. That 3 tells me that I'm gonna play a 3 chord in the key of E. So here's the E chord, here's my 3 chord, which is basically a 1 over 3. But you see that plus? That plus tells me that I'm gonna play an augmented chord. So here's an E chord, augmented, or sharp the 5. Some of you all know this. You see here is a G sharp 7, sharp 9, sharp 5. I just call it a 3 plus. Now we're on the 6th chord now in the key of E. Now I'm not gonna talk a whole lot now. We're gonna literally go each chord, and I'm gonna take my time to play it, but I'm not gonna break down the theory on it. So here we go. So I'm on a 6th chord, 6 over 5. Now I'm going to that 2, to the 4, on the bottom, boom, boom, boom. I'm going 2 minor over the 7, boom, boom, boom. Now I'm on a 6 major. Now I'm going to do that 5 minor. And then we can resolve that. 2 minor over the 1. Now we're going to that E flat major, to the A flat, and this is D sharp to a G sharp. Now I'm going to the minor chord there, which is the 6, take it up a half step. Woo! That's a stretch. Now you don't gotta do all that, bro. Just keep it simple. That's an easy way to get to that chord. It's like an F2 chord. And if you can do a lick or 2 in 1 key, make sure you can do it in all 12 keys. But if you consider yourself a professional gospel musician, you can do every lick in 1 key that you can do in all 12 keys. But ultimately, I want you to be a person who plays with power and not focusing more on the wow. I'd much rather you be a musician who can play in 1 key and you press the transpose button throughout service and you know you feel comfortable, you're not stressing out and trying to impress your friends to show that you can play in all 12 keys, but you're really nervous and you're messing up. Push that transpose button if you know it's a difficult song that you haven't prepared to play in a more difficult key. Like me, I studied playing James Hall and I learned how to play I'm Not the Same. Those of you who know that song, you know it's amazingly difficult to play, and it's in the key of B. But I guarantee you 99.9% of musicians who can play that introduction can't move it to other keys instantly. So all of y'all who talk about playing in all 12 keys and don't push the transpose button, if you are playing for James Hall and he asks you to move that key, that introduction to I'm Not the Same down to the key of G, 99.9% of you can't do it. I'm gonna tell you to push that minus 1, 2, 3, 4. No shame in your game. But for those of you who are well prepared, you need to know what key the song is gonna be in. Take your time learning in that key, because you don't know, you might be in an environment where they just have a piano that doesn't have a transpose button. So come prepared, but in those emergency situations, listen, let the anointing flow through you. Press that +1, +2, -3, -4, whatever you got to do to get to that service. So let me be very clear about this. If you can play the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 6 chord, you can play that in all 12 keys. Yeah, you can play in all 12 keys and you will fit perfect in a contemporary Christian music environment. But in a gospel, especially a modern gospel environment, if you can't play songs like For Every Mountain in all 12 keys, I don't consider you a top tier professional gospel musician. I don't consider myself a professional gospel musician. I consider myself an advanced gospel musician, but definitely not a top tier professional gospel musician, because I've only met probably 1 or 2 that can play everything, every lick, every run, every chord, every deceptive cadence in 1 key, and they can do it exactly the same in all 12 keys. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. You all know that I'm going to include some links below to get you moving. You all know I never like to close any of my videos without letting you know that today is a new day, a new life, and a new opportunity for you to become a better you. I love you guys, and I'll see you in a couple of days on Worship Wednesday.